will show a list of all of the activities that have been generated for this particular user. It will show who the assignee is, the case information, the date it was created, and if there are any deadlines. So at the moment, this area here is completely blank. When you start creating activities in your Mobizio system, this page here will populate with this particular user's activities. They can accept them, they can decline them, you can say you've completed them, and so on. So this area here is basically the to-do list for this particular employee. Next option on the left-hand panel is visits. This is a summary of all of your visit data coming from People Planner. So if a visit is cancelled, if it is ongoing, if it is an outstanding visit, that information comes from People Planner over into Mobizio. So this page here is just for your information purposes. So you can see the exact information that's come from your People Planner screen into the Mobizio system.
It's recording.
The next heading on the left, or the next two, should I say, reports.
Sorry, does that mean that you can, because on People Planner you can't compile the information for whether a call's been cancelled or who's cancelled it? So does that mean that we can do that from here?
No, unfortunately not, but you can compile information on People Planner. So are you talking about kind of a report on your cancellations?
Yeah.
There are reports of that in People Planner.
Because I spoke to somebody at People Planner and they said that there was no way of doing it.
Okay, are you aware of our export functionality
Yeah.
in People Planner? Okay, so what I would recommend is when you're on your planning tab, export your planning data, and in the pivot table there is definitely a cancellation area.
How do I get to that, sorry?
In your planning tab of People Planner,
Okay, yeah.
under the visit export, there is a pivot table option which is cancellation description, and you'll be able to see in a certain date range how many cancelled calls you have and the reason for that cancellation.
Oh, okay.
It definitely can be done in People Planner, so I'd recommend doing that in People Planner. This information here is for the video is morely just for your information purposes, really. But
Okay,
definitely,
lovely.
you can definitely report on that out of People Planner.
Okay, lovely. Thank you.
The next two options on the left, we've got reports and we've got live view. Now, I'm not going to touch on these today because we cover them in training sessions to come. So our next training session, we're going to look at the live view screen. And the final training session, we'll go through the report. So those two features are something that we will cover in a great detail a little bit later on. The configuration option. Now, the configuration, that's the equivalent to your settings tab in People Planner. So if you want to edit any of the settings in your Mobizio system, it's the configuration heading that you will click on this main menu here. We're going to be working in the configuration area for quite a lot of our session today, because we need to go through the setup of your system, making sure people have got the right level of access and so on. Any questions at all on any of the options from home to configuration?
Nope.
Perfect. Okay. Next one underneath is services, and you have here your service user records. So this option here will give you access to your service user case files. So your case file, each service user has its own case file. Within the case file, it is giving you or are going to provide you all of the information regarding that particular service user. For example, if we look at Paula, clicking on Paula's name on the left, I have now opened up Paula's case file record. So with Mobizio, if, for example, Paula had a paper file sitting in a filing cabinet in your office, everything that you could have in that paper file for Paula, we are trying to replicate it in this particular area on Mobizio. So this here is her digitized case file. What we're going to do now, I'm going to run through all of the options on the left to give you an overview of your service user case file options. The first page that you see at the moment is called the dashboard area. When you first click into one of your service user case files, you will always go to the dashboard first. The dashboard, it's a summary of this person's key information, and it's made up of what we call case fields. So all of these options here, where it's got preferred name, NHS number, date of birth, gender, these are what we call case fields. So a case field is where you can capture key information regarding this particular service user. So the dashboard is made up of key case fields regarding Paula. Some case fields are populated from People Planner. So integration will automatically update a handful of case fields for you. So things like the area has already got an answer within it. The date of birth, that's already been pre-populated from People Planner. Paula's address is already in there, and so on. And if you scroll down, you see a little bit more information. Some case fields haven't been updated, and that is because People Planner doesn't capture that information, or that level of integration isn't there in the system just yet. With case fields, they tend to be updated via forms being submitted. So in Mobizio, we can create what we call automation rules. Now, an automation rule is, for example, if someone out in the field submits a customer profile form for Paula, for example, it answers or it asks all of these questions that appear on the dashboard. When someone submits that form, we can get it to auto-populate these case dashboards here and all of the case fields. So some of these case fields are read-only because it means that they can only be populated and answered via a form being submitted. But you can change that in the system. So you can configure whether a case field, and these options here, for example, gender, is read-only. At this point, I can't put an answer in the gender field. So because it's read-only, I know that a certain form has to be submitted for us to select Paula's gender, and then it will auto-populate our answer in the gender field here. Everything like that you can...
I'm sorry.